Fall has arrived, which means it's time to head to the Dollar Tree. To make my pumpkin look a bit more natural, I first mixed a few shades of brown paint together that I already had on hand and painted the stem. Once the paint was dry, I grabbed all my floral bunches and cut the flowers off the stem using wire cutters, trying to get as close to the back of the flower as I could. Then I removed the plastic backing. This part is optional, but I found it important and helpful in achieving the look I was envisioning. Next, it was time to start applying the flowers to the pumpkin. I started off with my largest flower, added a good amount of hot glue to the back, and placed it on the pumpkin. Then I filled in around that flower with the smaller red, orange, and off-white flowers. I worked around, filling in gaps, and made sure to alternate the colors and sizes of flowers over the entire pumpkin. I made sure to put flowers from the stem all the way to the bottom, leaving space on the very bottom so that the pumpkin sat nicely on a flat surface. Lastly, I tied 2 pieces of curly twine together and hot glued them to the stem of the pumpkin to mimic a vine. I love how cute this floral pumpkin turned out, and I'm so excited to add it to my fall decor collection this year.
When I found these pumpkins, I looked beyond their bright orange color and saw their beautiful shapes instead. To start, I grabbed 2 of my favorite colors of paint, a creamy beige and a duck egg blue. I'm going to paint one of the smaller pumpkins in each of these colors, and then I'm going to mix the 2 together for the largest pumpkin. While the paint is drying, I'm going to make some air dry clay flowers. To make sure the clay releases, I'm going to dust the molds with cornstarch. Now I'm going to fill the flower molds with the clay and make sure it's nice and packed down so it gets into all those little details. The clay is easy to release from the flexible molds now. For the largest pumpkin, I'm making a variety of flowers, including rosebuds and daisies and even a sunflower. With the flowers all made, it's time to arrange them and adhere them to the pumpkin. A little tacky glue all over the back of the flower adheres them really well. I'm going to keep adding the flowers I made to one side of the pumpkin until I have an arrangement I like. With everything ready, I'm going to give the pumpkins and flowers a coat of paint in the same color I used for the first coat. I want to make sure that I get all of the little nooks and crannies around the flowers so that they're all completely covered. Now that the paint is dry, I want to add a little glaze to highlight the beautiful flowers. The glaze is a light brown and will add just a bit of an antique feel to the pumpkins. Using a small brush really helps to get it into all of those little small spots. After getting it in where I want it, I'm just using a cloth to wipe it off all the high points. Finally, to finish off my pumpkins, I want to add some stems. I removed these plastic ones that came with the pumpkins, and I want to use a little piece of wood instead to give it a really rustic look. I can't believe how different these pumpkins look now. I love the soft colors and the pretty flowers. I hope this has inspired you to grab some dollar store pumpkins and give them a beautiful makeover as well.
Do you have dollar store pumpkins and don't know what to do with them? Let's give these beauties a colorful fall makeover. Take a larger faux pumpkin and remove the top stem. With some painter's tape, tape around the circumference of the pumpkin and press the edge of the tape against the pumpkin securely. Using a bold craft paint and a color you love, paint the top half of the pumpkin and let dry completely. Once dry, remove the painter's tape and paint the bottom half in a bold, contrasting color. You can tape off the top if you want, or just freehand paint to the edge like I did. While the pumpkin is drying, take some letterboard letters and spell out the word fall. Spell out the word twice, so double up on each letter. Yes, that is a lot of the letter L. With some tweezers, grab the corner of each letter and dunk in your craft paint. Dunk one set of letters that spell the word fall in one color of paint and dunk the other set in your contrasting color. Use a glue gun to glue the word fall to the pumpkin on the top half and along the line where the two colors meet. Glue the color of letters that contrasts with the colored section of the pumpkin. Glue them close to the line that divides the two contrasting colors. Take the second set of letters that contrasts with the bottom of the pumpkin and glue them upside down. Everyone will know the season when they see this adorable pumpkin. Take a colorful patterned paper napkin and separate the layers. You're going to use the layer that has the pattern on it. Remove the stem from a dollar store pumpkin. Brush decoupage glue to the entire outside of the pumpkin. Let it sit for a few minutes and then place the patterned napkin on top of the pumpkin. Working from the top down, press and smooth the napkin onto the pumpkin. Use your fingers to press the napkin into the grooves of the pumpkin. When you get to the bottom of the pumpkin, take some scissors and cut off the excess paper. Then apply some more decoupage glue to secure the ends of the paper to the bottom of the pumpkin. Now give the entire paper-covered pumpkin a full brushing of the decoupage glue. Let it dry completely and then poke the stem back into the top. The sky is the limit with all of the different paper napkin patterns you can use with decoupage no-carve pumpkins. Take a small dollar store pumpkin and remove its stem. Then take a larger dollar store pumpkin and remove its stem. Poke the larger stem into the smaller pumpkin, so you're just switching the stems. Next, gather some colorful small pom-poms. I took a dollar store pom-pom garland and cut the strings. With a glue gun, start gluing the poms onto the small pumpkin starting at the top. You can glue in a specific pattern, or if you like, just glue randomly like I did. Don't worry about gluing poms on the very bottom of the pumpkin. This perky Pom Pom Pumpkin couldn't be cuter sitting on a cart, bookshelf, or stack of books. I hope this inspired you to create no-carve decorative pumpkins with paint, glue, and fun embellishments.
Last time I was at my local dollar store, I spotted these styrofoam pumpkins, and you will notice that they're a little bit shiny, and I want to paint these, so I'm going to come in with some Krylon primer spray paint, just white, and I'm going to give these a very light coat. This is just to take away the sheen and make my acrylic paint stick better to the styrofoam pumpkins. And then I took them back inside and I took some acrylic paint to cover these pumpkins. So the first shade here I just have is like an antique white shade. I'm going to paint that one just white, but then I want to do some different colors on the others. So I'm going to mix up my own custom color here, just using a bit of beige, some pink, and a little bit of orange to create that pastel peachy orange color. I did two other colors as well, a more lighter orange and then a nice sage green one for the top. I next came in with this pickling white wax from Dixie Belle. Just in the indent lines, I rubbed this in here and then smoothed it out with a cloth just to give my pumpkins some definition and some realness to them. I also went over with a darker orange in the indent lines on some of the pumpkins just to give that more realistic definition look. So you can see here I'm just taking this straight orange and going right over and then wiping it back off again, and it's kind of rubbing this orange paint into the wax as well, and I thought this gave it a really realistic look. I'm going to take this dowel which has a rounded side and a flat edge, and I'm going to poke it down through the pumpkin. Then I'm just going to begin poking on my other pumpkins as well, making sure to leave space at the end of the dowel and at the top. I poked my pumpkins on in different areas to give them that more staggered look. Then I'm going to take this rustic bucket that I had just kicking around my house. I'm going to weigh it down with a rock, put some paper in, and then I'm going to push a styrofoam ball in there, and I'm going to push the end of the dowel into the styrofoam ball, and this holds my pumpkins in the pail. Where the pumpkins meet the rim of the pail, I'm going to shove in some of this natural looking grass here, and then I'm also going to paint some of the stems of the pumpkins and stick them back in. And I'm going to decorate the tops of the pumpkins as well with just some faux greenery that I picked up from the fall section from Dollar Tree. I also made a little sign here for the top. Now I made this sign myself with my laser engraving machine, but you can get tons of different cute fall signs from your local dollar store, Dollar Tree. There are lots of options out there if you don't have a sign making machine. I finished adding on all the touches of decor that I wanted to adorn my pumpkins, and this is the finished look here. This looks so cute on my porch, and I'm so happy with how it turned out, and it didn't cost me very much money at all. Just a few styrofoam pumpkins from the dollar store, some added greenery, and a beautiful fall display for my fall front porch that looks like it came from a high-end decor store. I really hope that this project inspires you to get creative this fall. Thank you so much for tuning into Home Talk, and we'll see you next time.